Hello, and welcome to this HelloID update video. In this video, we would like to go over dynamic forms. Forms are new in HelloID, and we are very proud to show you this functionality today. We will start with a PowerPoint presentation to give you an overview and then demo the software. Currently, under the Service Automation section, you can define products and publish them into the organization. We are going to use Adobe Photoshop for our example. If someone within the organization wants Adobe Photoshop, they can request to use this product. Here we have the product owner, then the manager, and someone from IT. Down here we can see that the manager can delegate this responsibility to a personal assistant. If they are given permission, the requester will then be part of the AD group, granting them access to use Adobe Photoshop. This is currently how the process works, but we wanted to make it more sophisticated. Before, when someone requested a product like Adobe Photoshop, they could not give any extra attributes or input. We have now added this option. We can now request additional input when requesting a product. We will use Adobe in this example. Now a user can use a form and make a selection. In this case, he can select an Adobe product. Here is another example. We generated a product for creating a new AD user. When they select it, a form pops up with details for the new user to fill out. When they submit the request, it will be executed automatically within the Active Directory. We have made it easy for you to also include a workflow or any other options you already have in the product definition. Let's demo this new functionality. We will start with what the end result for the end user looks like. We are logged in as an end user, and we go over to the self-service products. Here is the original product, Adobe Photoshop. We open it and request permission to use it with a reason why and for how long. Let's say 10 days. We hit request and it will go into the queue and wait for approval. This is the way you are probably familiar with to request access to products. Now let's go over to forms. We have created two forms, one for selecting Adobe products and one for creating a new user. We will start with Adobe. We click on it, choose Illustrator, our reason why, and request. Now we go over to a more complicated form. Create a new AD user. We fill out the field, choose a location, and use the default password. Then we say why we need this new user and request. We can see that Adobe Illustrator has been approved and is performing tasks, and that the new user is pending approval, but will be created. Let's switch over to the admin portal. Now we go over to Automation and Task History to see if those actions are being executed. Up here is the Create User, and below it is the Membership. We click on the Details tab for the Adobe product. If we click on the Process log, we can see that the product requested was Illustrator. Then we go down to Input Variables and click on Task-Specific Variables, the most important item. Here we can see the group name, which is the selection we have made. Now let's go back and take a look at the details to create a new AD user. We go back to Input Variables again and open Task-Specific Variables. You can see what we had typed in the form here. Now we would like to show you how to configure these forms. We go to the Self-Service section and you can see an item, Forms. But first, we are going to go down to Products. We go down to Create User and click on Edit. Now we can see this new option, Form. The definition is exactly the same, just the form has been added. Up here, under Approval Workflow, you can pick from a drop-down menu how you want users to be approved. So, if you need the new user to be approved by a manager, you can easily add that to the process. The rest of the product is the same, including the action that will be executed after the approval of the request. Over here, we can create the new user based on the input of that new form. Now let's take a look at the definition of the forms. Let's use the more complicated one, Create User. We can hover over Preview, and the form pops up so we can immediately see if this is the correct version. We now go to Edit. Down this left-hand column, we can see all of the inputs that we added to the form, but we can also modify the form here. Let's say we want to remove the password. We click Delete next to this input and confirm this action. Now we can add it right back in with a quick drag and drop and then edit the variables. We change the label to password. Then fill in password. Pre-filled value, a common password, tools forever. Now over to validation. We will move the toggle to turn required on. Make it a minimum length of 5 characters, and the name of the field on the form is the password. This will make sure that this filled-in variable is passed through the tasks. We will show you that later on. We can have more control over all of this in the editor. Now we can see exactly what the scripts look like. Here we can fill in some additional information. We click Submit, and now the new password, Tools Forever, is the correct password, and you can see it being changed over here. This is the definition of the form, and we don't think you need too much extra detail as most of it is drag and drop here on the Edit Form page. The most important thing to know is that once the form is submitted, it will be executed to the tasks under the product it is associated with. Let's click on Edit for the Create User product to have a look. Here is the form we created. And now to Actions and Edit. Here under Variables, we can see all fill-ins we created to be submitted to this task. The new user will be created in the Active Directory using the information we requested to be on the form. There will be more details on this new functionality to come, but in the meantime, please let us know if you have any questions, comments, or requests. Have a wonderful day.